Hi and welcome to another one of the performance reviews by the Tech Geeks. We're going to look at this. This is the Ubiquiti UCG-Industrial. Not going to be a real in-depth performance. We want to test two things. We want to test its Ethernet performance and its Wi-Fi performance. This is a heavy-duty, all-in-one router. We've got two SIM slots. First thing to note, these are not for mobile access. These are designed to work with the 5G Max gateway, which will then give you remote access. We've got onboard storage here with a micro SD card, and we've got all these heat sinks across the top. We've got four Ethernet ports that are 2.5 gigabits. We've got one 10 gigabit and one 10 gigabit SFP up this end. We've got a total of about 270 watts of PoE over this. So it's an all-in-one console, really good, but we just want to test just to see those basics of performance. So let's just run on in. Let's get this powered up. So very simple. We've got the ports on the front. We've got the big power pack that comes with it here, which is 54 volts. You do get these two little stubby antennas that normally come with it. We've added these ones in that come in the pack as well, just for a little bit of extra distance testing. So we're just going to plug in here for our power, and that's going to let it start up. We're going to use the 10 gig SFP Plus because we want to try and see what performance we're going to get through. So I'm just going to plug our DAC cable in. That's going to connect up to our switch. You can see the device is starting to power up here. So I just need to grab my mobile phone, and as that powers up, I obviously need to have created a unifi.ui.com account, and I need really the Unifi network app on my smart device. You can do this with an IP address and connect directly to its LAN interface and set it up, but just for this initial stage, it's probably a little easier to do this. So as you can see, what we're going to do is wait for it to come up to be shown as found. Now on the front of this unit, we don't have an LCD screen, so we can't really see what it's doing other than a flashing light at the front. So you can see the device now says that it has been found. So let's just start walking through adopting it. It wants the Wi-Fi set up, so we can do some very basics in there. Let me just put test. And then it's just going to walk through. Wanting to adopt it to my Unifi account because I'm already logged in, it's going to add it to there. So let's just let it go all the way through. Okay, so you can see that it's now added it to unifi.ui.com. Now it will probably just want to do a firmware update. So while it does that firmware update, what I'm going to do is just run on over to the computer and we're going to make some changes that will then allow us to get this all working. All hooked up and working, and then I'll be able to do some of the speed tests with you. Okay, so we have adopted the device. I've jumped on the computer here now, and this is obviously, you can see here, unifi.ui.com. We've plugged the SFP 10 gig in, so if we are actually to go and have a look at the devices here and use our port manager, we can actually see the ports. You can see some stuff because I've been doing some testing here, but our SFP is in at 10 gig. Now, what you will have noticed is that this second port here that was on the unit also had a world symbol on it, being a WAN connection, but it is actually a 10 gig Ethernet connection as well. I would like to redesignate this to LAN because I want to test and see what speed we can get, because obviously we've got 2.5 gigabit a second Ethernet ports, and we've also got a 110 gig SFP and 110 gig RJ45. So I'm just going to convert this to a LAN connection. All right, and now what I can actually pop round and do is I can actually just go and plug the LAN connection in. So now what I can do is plug my LAN in. Hopefully you can just see that move the unit up. I'm going to plug that in. You can see here that it's actually showing as the second WAN port, but I've just converted that to LAN. So I'm going to plug that in, and that will allow us our test machine to be able to connect up to that. So let me hop back here, all right, and our test machine hopefully should be online. Let me just see what I can do quickly to remote into that so that we can get that there and see what it's like. But once we've done that, obviously, like I said, we're not going to set this up. That was the key to get my speed there. We've got a Wi-Fi network set up here, which we'll use in a moment. What I've done is I've actually done this to maximum speed. So I've tried to extend some of the channel widths a little bit on here, although it maybe hasn't done sort of the the ultimate, but it's giving us a good starting point of what we can have. And these are presets to what you actually want to do, but you can set this to custom. So maybe you want to set this to 40, maybe you want to set this to 160. That's pretty high on there, and we've not got the 6 gigahertz. So I'm just going to leave this at that option. So when we just come to test the Wi-Fi in a minute, we're just going to see what sort of throughput it does. But what we're interested really now is what can this actually unit do? We will turn on intrusion prevention in a minute and just do a test to see what speed we can get through the unit with that on. So just give me a moment. I'm just going to remote into the other machine. Right, so let's just spin it over to the virtual machine. This virtual machine is connected to the LAN interface at that 10 gig for that UCG-Industrial. So let's just firstly check we can get access to the internet. There we go, we're accessing the internet, so we know we're online, so let's clear that. Now we're just going to run a test. I've got a 10 gig test server at the end of this. We're going to do a reverse. So we're pulling from WAN to LAN instead of sending it from LAN to WAN. We're going to send it with 20 streams at the moment, just going to see how much that's going to flood it and see what sort of speed we can get. So we've got there we go, 6.6, 6.4, 6.6 gigabits a second, a really solid return on that. So really pleased with the speed that we're getting on that, and I think that's a good indicative. Maybe we'll just try 30 streams, just see if we can flood it a little bit more. This might not give us any better speed. We may have just flooded it too much. It's a little bit better in those 6s and consistently in the 6s. We'll just try another few streams just in case we pick it up. We'll just jump straight to 50 just to see if we can push it up to the 7. I think this might have saturated. You can see it's just struggling now to have the remote session in place. We'll see what it comes out with as a return at the end. Just give it a couple more moments and it hopefully should return us a result. We've just really maxed out the network card, which is what we're trying to do, just to see, you know, what is the maximum speed we can actually get through this device. There we go. We pretty much crashed it out at the other side of things. So that flooded it with way more than it could actually cope with. We are getting a 6.18, but that's too many streams for it. So as you can see, a good consistent 6 gigabits a second. Now what we can do, let's just go and do our last little bit of changes just to show you what we can do. We're going to go into Cyber Secure, turn on intrusion prevention. We're going to do notify and block. We're basically going to get it to go and scan for everything in here. All right, so 4 of 4, 5 of 3, 3 of 6 or 7. Get it to as many protocols and many vulnerabilities that we can go searching for. We just really want to see, is this actually going to create any lag, any drop in performance when this is running through? And often we see this maybe drop 200 or 300 megasecond. Obviously, if you've not done this before, you can upgrade this here and have greater control over content filtering and your intrusion prevention stuff for a small subscription with Ubiquiti. So let's just hop back to the machine. That should probably be active now. We'll drop that down to our 30 streams, which is where we sort of found that consistent spot before. And let's have a little look and see what we've done. Obviously looks like we may have just caused it to flood a little bit. Okay, we've seen quite a drop. There we go. We've got sort of 6.3, 6.3 again, 6.42. Let's just put that to 20 streams because I think 20 streams seems to be where it can sit a little bit more consistently. And let's just see what comes out. Because remember, this has got the intrusion prevention running. So if we can still see that same 6 gig of performance, then I think we're seeing a really good return. Obviously, some of these are going to jostle because it's trying to work out if some of these packets are safe or not safe. So we're looking for averages, but we're looking for maximums as well there. So we're seeing a maximum of 6.62 gigabits a second. If we take off the -R, now we're going to send it LAN to WAN. So essentially, there is no filtering or very little filtering taking that place. We still have a drop of performance speed, which we would expect if there was some level of protection on LAN to WAN running as well. So just put that -R back and you can see how it does oscillate. Now that's not really going to affect probably your main web browsing, but we even got up to 6.7 gigabits a second there as it works out whether those things are at fault or dangerous and filters them. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what we can get on the Ethernet port. I'm just going to quickly show you this on the WAN, just to remind you that even though it's got 2 SIM slots, these are not designed to be internet SIM slots. These are still going to work with a 5G Max gateway. The idea, and I don't think it's here quite in the firmware when we're recording this March 2026, but the idea is you only have to put the SIMs in that device and not put them in the actual 5G Max gateway, and it'll basically mirror the SIM to the device, and that device, the 5G gateway, is what's going to give you your internet connection, and it will appear as an additional WAN connection in here. So that's why I just want to make sure that you don't think you're going to get actual mobile coverage from these devices, because that's not what it does. So now we just want to jump over and do a little speed test, give us an idea of what we get at the several different places. So we're going to do a speed test at basically right next to the access point. We've just created a very simple access point on here called Unifi. It's running in both. My mobile phone, which is an iPhone 16, is running on there. So I'm going to run it at a meter. I'm going to run the test at 5 meters through 1 concrete wall. Then we'll run it at about 10 meters through 3 concrete walls. And if it's still working at that point, we will go and have a little go at it right the way out at about 15 meters through 4 concrete walls. But we're probably expecting it not to get quite that far. So let's just jump on. I'm just going to get my mobile phone connected to the Wi-Fi network, which I think I already have, and get it recording. And then we'll see what we can come up with. Okay, so we're just going to pop on the screen those speed tests. It's very interesting. Close up, and again, we're just trying to do this not without anything really particularly cleverly done. We just want to show what we can get. So I'm just using my iPhone 16. It's doing what it needs to do to join the Wi-Fi. As you can see, at about a meter, our maximum speed there was about 790 megasecond. It wasn't as fast as I was expecting, but it is an all-in-one device. Probably with a whole bunch of tuning, you might be able to get that running a little bit faster than that. Then I'm just going to pop out there to 1 concrete wall. And you can see we get not bad in those 300 megabits a second, which is pretty good for that. So 5 meters, 1 concrete wall. Then we hop on out to 10 meters with 3 concrete walls. And you can see we're sort of getting the 18 and 20 megasecond, which again is fairly expected. Obviously, this isn't necessarily designed to be a really powerful access point. It is an industrial unit. It's designed to have IoT devices fairly close to it. So that gives you some ideas of the speed tests of what you can get for the wireless. Like I said, probably could tune that up a little bit more. So hopefully that's given you idea of performance throughput for Ethernet, and what it can do as a router, and then what we can do as wireless. Hopefully just giving you a quick little bit around the interface. Remember that those 2 SIM slots are not for mobile connection. They are to again work with the 5G Max gateways that can plug into this and then make it a mobile device as well. But a really good all-in-one. Hopefully that's useful. Head on over to our YouTube channel. Got plenty more box openings, rough and readies, how-to guides, performance guides there as well. So head on over there, subscribe, and stay up to date.